Have you ever thought about anti-NRL fantasy? I bet you haven't, but it's a really interesting way to play the game. You won't win any head-to-head leagues or any cash prizes with this, but it can help you with your overall fantasy as well by helping finding fallen guns at bottom dollar, finding players who are losing value that you might want to pick up later, whether they're cheapies or mid-range as well, or just another way to enjoy yourself if your regular fantasy team is on the ropes, like it is for a lot of us in these first 3 rounds. So, I'm in a little league with some mates, and we're having a go at this like regular fantasy. So, we're treating it the same. Got to have a full 17 of players. Can't use and abuse the salary cap. Got to have less than 300k remaining. And you can't bury Nathan Cleary, Nico Hines, and Daly Cherry Evans in your emergencies. You're only allowed to have one guy above 600k there. Your captain has to start, as in not be on the bench. And other than that, go for your life and pick who you play. So the main aim of regular fantasy is to score maximum, build up your value until you've basically got a squad of 17, 18, 19 guns that you can count on to score hopefully 900 points or 1,000 a week, that sort of a thing by the end of the year. So for this, the aim is to lose as much value as you can and score as few points as you can. The main way we're scoring it is by points, like you will in regular fantasy, but you can definitely look at it from the money loss point of view as well. Last year, I came third last team squad value, I think, and I forgot about it for half the year. So let's have a look at some of these other really good, well, really good low squad value teams and see if they can teach us anything. This bloke, I think, Money Pit and Money Momo Money were the two that were ahead of me last year, and they've both got up to pretty good starts. So ahead of me in getting down their squad value. So let's have a look at Jimmy's team, and straight away we can see he's not playing by the same rules as we are. For the little league we have, but yeah, he's got some real crackers in that team. Tuolagi was a little bit unlucky, and Waddell with the tries and the small minute cameos. But yeah, bench edges are the go in anti fantasy. As I've said in regular fantasy, it's the worst scoring position of the game. So for anti, get him in your team. He's gone really, really strong with Bird and Crichton in his centres. I think they've pretty much lost the most for any centre other than, I don't know, maybe Bradman Best is up and around there as well. But yeah, so he's got like your Dale Finucane, your Chris Lewis, Nick Meaney, he'll probably want to trade out at some stage given that he's held on to the goals. Jacob Host, unlucky try. So overall, a really solid looking squad. Not a lot wrong with that. Let's have a look at Money Pit now and see what he's got going along. I like Phoenix Crossland. I think he's going to be capped now that Jaden Brayley is back. And yeah, he could be somebody that you just sit in your hooker position for a good chunk of the year because he did well enough last year to get a decent role, but with Brayley and all the rest there, I doubt he's ever going to go very high. So he's one to look at. Kurt Mann has not done fantastic for him. Mann's done actually all right in regular fantasy. Chris Lewis, Waddell, and Tuolagi as well in his team. DC is a really, really good pick. So he, with Luke Brooks, has lost a lot of money. It's taken away some responsibility from him. He could be somebody that I look to bring into my team, honestly, if he continues to do this. So in past years, DCE has had guys like Schuster, Jacob Arthur, and Cooper Johns alongside him. He's had to do the main playmaking and basically run the show. Brooks has taken some pressure off him, and although it's good for Manly, it has not been good for DC's scoring. So maybe he's not going to be a 60s or a high 50s scorer this year. Suali, kind of a bit of a nothing pick at this stage. Elliot Whitehead, now that Hosking is there and we also have Horsburgh probably coming back this week, low minutes, he could be somebody that we really look to do. So 35, how did he score 35? Didn't he only get a few minutes last week? Let's have a look. So Elliot Whitehead last week, 34 and 35 minutes, wow. So if he's going to continue to get those sort of minutes, I really think that he will drop really quick. Somebody that's very good to keep an eye on. Dane Laurie, he's probably the perfect person to buy for anti-fantasy right now because he's playing like less than 10 minutes off the Panthers bench. I think He's not playing hooker for like Mitch Kenny or anything. He's just filling in where needed. I think he came on with 9 minutes left to go this week for Nathan Cleary because they were flogging the Broncos. So something like that. Kai Pearce-Paul is going to have to get rid of because he's now an 80-minute edge back rower. And honestly, in a week or two, once our wing fullback problems with this Storm buy are over, we honestly might look to use him as an upgrade, given that Hosking may be a sell soon. Lukey's gone. Salmon isn't doing great, and all those sort of things. So keep an eye on him. Expensive-ish, but I mean, if he's playing 80 minutes, it will be quite juicy. So Kai Pearce-Paul. Let's have a look at that. So yeah, 40 and 61 in 82 minutes. So if we just approximate there's a 50 average at that price, it's not too bad, hey? So someone to definitely keep an eye on. I think that he will keep an 80-minute role. It's hard to say that though, because like who if Dylan Lucas is in the team, who loses minutes? So let's have a look at what happened in this match. This is sort of how I would break down regular fantasy teams as well and regular players. You can't just look at a player and go, oh, they're a good buy. They made money last week. They scored well. You've got to look at why. The whole reason about buying someone is you know their role and why they're going to do something. So that's what we're going to do. So immediately in footy stats, somebody's flagged something. Lucas at edge with Frizzell moving to the middle. That's quite interesting. Maybe that means that Kai Pearce-Paul is going to be safe in an 80-minute role. I don't know if I'm mega confident in that, but two games in a row where he did is promising. What about that first week? Let's have a look at Frizzell. 73 minutes. That's interesting. Tyson Frizzell is an absolute gun, but he's also had a few injury problems in recent years and is starting to get a little older. Maybe that's a good role for him going forward. And Kai Pearce-Paul is the new 80-minute guy. So if he can have 50 average at 39, one to look at. Probably not one that you need to rush out and buy this instant, but maybe next week after this wing fullback drama has subsided. All right, so let's go back to my team now. See what we're going to do this week before we finish up. So I can't go over the 300k cap limit or I'll get a points penalty. We can look at our scores through the main league. I won't have a look at that now because it's got the names in it. But yeah, I think I'm coming second last in that, but with some of the other penalties, I might be third last or third. I think there's 5 or 6 players. Anyway, yeah, I've had a rough start, as you can see. Coates, Meaney, Dallin, Garrick, and Cooler for the first 2 weeks, I think have scored about the rest of my team. Yeah, I have generally high points wing fullbacks to begin the year start slow. Not this year. This year's been a bit cooked, and you can see it in this as well. So Dane Laurie, you come straight in. Welcome to the anti-fantasy. So I don't have a lot left now. Let's have a look for some of these expensive guys. I think, given that I will be wanting to get Garrick and like Meaney and Dallin out of there, to avoid copping a points penalty, I'm either going to need a really expensive wing fullback, and I don't know if there's any at the moment that are real good for that. So, yeah, to be honest, I'm not really interested in any of these guys at the moment. Like maybe Marzu, but he's injured, and so I think we're going to have to look in a different position or just hold for a week. So let's have a little look now. Who is losing a lot of money really quick in other positions? So we got DCE, as I was mentioning, honestly, really solid. He'll still score okay, but I mean, with Brooks doing a lot, maybe he's not so good. Well, he's averaging 41. What's Brooks averaging? Brooks is averaging 41 as well. That's crazy. So how many let's have a look at Brooks' kick meters. Actually, no, let's look at DC's kick meters and see how it's been affected daily. Cherry Evans. My internet is doing interesting things at the moment. All right, so we go back to season 2023. Average kick meters, very high, 450 plus. 2022, 440. So basically 450 meters. This year so far, he's averaged 100 less, which is going to give him less attacking plays, probably less try assists from bombs, all those sort of things. So what else is changing? 13 tackles, not many tackle breaks, not as many try assists compared to, yeah, a lot reduced tackles actually. That just could be because Manly doing better, attacking well. Could be a good option. Who else is expensive that I could bring into my team? Cody Walker. Some of these centers look juicy, but I think I'm going to go over the limit if I try and sell any of these guys to get them in. Yeah, we've got less than 50k left, and that means I don't even know. I can't even buy Jack Bird. So yeah, Scotty Sorensen, he still scores well even in limited minutes. So even though he looks really good, he might be a reverse trap. Trindle's just yuck for fantasy this year, but he's cheap enough that if he gets one good score, it'll ruin everything. Tamalolo, yeah, but I probably want somebody expensive so I can get rid of some of this salary cap and deal with this problem next week. It's a funny thing, hey, in regular fantasy, you've got to get cash in order to fix the cheap guys, and in this one, you've got to reduce cash in order to fix expensive guys if they go wrong. So let's have a look at some expensive guys now. I will switch this to 600 to 800k. And Cook could be a really interesting one actually, because he's only playing about 60 minutes a game now. He's been benched. I don't know what's going on with that, but if that continues, he won't be 750k for very long. So 31 and 46. So generally, okay, let's do some maths here. If he's generally like a mid-50s kind of guy in 80 minutes, say we cut that to 60 minutes or 65 minutes. What's he been getting? 61, 63. So let's just say 15 minutes reduction at 0.72 ppm. 0.7 times 15 is 10.5. So probably drops to mid 40s, which looks about right. Mid 45 in my team still is a pest though, so I'll probably avoid him until further notice. So maybe I just keep it at that one trade this week. I'll ponder it a bit and I'll see where I end up. Yeah, that's probably all, guys. Thanks for watching. Bit of a different video. Long time no see on the Scoop channel. But yeah, I won't do a weekly update for this, I think, but maybe one every now and then just to sort of touch on how we're going, get some interest going for next year, and also highlight some pickups that might be relevant for regular fantasy as well. So before we finish up with that, I might give those recommendations to finish off with. So look at that, Zach Hosking, whoever started with him, well done. I didn't, I'm crying in a corner. But yeah, Corey Waddell, bad role, maybe good, but don't like the role. If Crichton moves back to fullback or gets goals, could be good. Tass could be one to really look at. Souths have started rubbish, and if he drops to 300 and even just into the 300s and Souths recover a little bit, we've seen him score around that 40 mark at centre. He could be someone to look at through the mid-season. Bradman Best really could be someone that bounces back if the Knights get going again. Dill Brown as well. He's a lot cheaper than he started the year. Someone to watch. And Sam Walker, although he scored 4 goals and had 2 tries and only got 50. How did he manage that? I think he got injured or something. Johnson as well, bit cheaper but still expensive. Britton Nikora, but he's still suspended for a while. Then they got to buy, and then he'll drop more cash, so he'll probably only be buying like 6 weeks. So a lot of guys to keep an eye on. But yeah, keep an eye out for these fallen guns because they're really handy. Use the anti thing on footy statistics. You got your coin goats and your not coin goats, and you can see plenty of guys on there who you can just keep a quick eye on throughout the year. So yeah, that'll be all, guys, for real this time. I will catch you guys next time.